Hey everyone, welcome to this $1,400 stimulus check update, the third stimulus package update known as the American Rescue Plan. Also, this $2,000 monthly recurring stimulus check update. Yeah, you heard that right. It's still alive and well, and I got some information about that in this update. Hey everyone, my name is Randy and welcome back to the Late Night Grind. This is a new YouTube channel that I just started a couple of months ago talking about this stimulus package and these stimulus check updates. So if you're new to the channel, go ahead and click that subscribe button, and also don't forget to tap the bell notification icon. And also, one of the best things that you can do to support a new YouTube channel like this is actually by smashing that thumbs up button. It really helps out with that YouTube algorithm. All right guys, well let's get into it. So I've now been seeing that the $1,400 stimulus checks have been going out for several days now. I can see comments on my videos. I've actually heard people out in public talking about people they know that have already received it, or if they themselves have received it. So I know it is starting to hit bank accounts. So when I checked mine, I had a notice on mine that says this particular bank will be issuing the stimulus payments on Wednesday the 17th. Now I noticed this, several other people saying the same thing, that their banks are basically saying the same thing. So if you haven't gotten it already, it sounds like that's when the majority of these direct deposits will begin. And not only that, it actually said the next 2 weeks there will be two separate waves of direct deposits of the $1,400 stimulus checks. Another way you can check on this is by going to the irs.gov website. They have a link called the Get My Payment portal. If you click on that link, basically fill out some information and it'll tell you approximately when you'll be getting your stimulus check or your direct deposit, whichever it is. And you can get more information on that. You just have to basically provide some information identifying yourself a little bit further. So as this starts to unfold and hit the economy, it's speculated that nearly 40% of this is actually going to go into the markets, into the stock markets, into different investments. So I'd like to know what you guys think about that. Do you guys plan on doing any investing with it whatsoever? And if so, are you going to be a little more conservative about it? Or are you going to try your hand at a hot market and try and grow it a little bit so you can have a little bit more of a nest egg? Let me know in the comments section below what you guys are planning on doing with that. Now, there's a lot of other things that were included in this stimulus plan. In fact, the other day I made a video about the child tax credit plans, or rather the monthly payments that are going to be starting in July. So if you have some questions about that, I'll link to this video right up here. You can go ahead and click on that and watch that video after this one, of course. I have some more information about the child tax credits, who they go to, how much, when they're coming, how to get it, things like that. But what I really wanted to touch on here is basically the $2,000 per month stimulus checks that progressive Democrats have been pushing really since last year. This isn't anything new. In fact, right after the CARES Act was passed, several lawmakers thought that monthly stimulus checks or ongoing stimulus checks would probably be the better route to go. And as we saw other countries start to do this, like Canada, France, some European countries, start to give their citizens some monthly stimulus, obviously, it became a more popular idea here, especially with more progressive Democrats, who tend to just want to spend money now and answer questions about it later. And not only that, our Vice President Kamala Harris, she was one of the ones that was pushing for this $2,000 per month ongoing stimulus plan last year. She and several lawmakers actually co-sponsored a proposal that never really went anywhere, but it is on record that she is definitely of the mind that more spending is better. Just before this most recent stimulus package was passed, there was actually 50 Democratic lawmakers who wrote a letter to the Biden administration, talking about these monthly stimulus plans and how important they would be to ongoing economic recovery. Because as we know right now, the unemployment rate is about 6.1, 6.2%. And that's much better than it was last year, but it's still certainly a far cry from what it was pre-pandemic. And not only that, one of the biggest factors of these economists looking at the possibility of needing long-term stimulus or another stimulus plan is the workforce participation rate. And as of right now, it is still one of the lowest it's been in decades. And so when the pandemic actually hit last year, the labor force participation rate basically tanked, kind of along with the unemployment numbers, obviously coincide with each other. As of right now, we've only recovered about 50% of the loss of the labor participation rate. And as it stands right now, we're at about the same labor participation rate as it was in 1976. It's been much higher than that since then. Throughout the 90s and the early 2000s, under the Clinton administration and the Bush administrations, the labor force participation was at its absolute peak. And during the Obama administration, it basically tanked. Under the Trump administration, it started to make a comeback by a couple of percent, and then COVID hit. And now we're back down. And so when economists look at these factors, they look at a combination of that along with the unemployment rate, along with some of the GDP numbers, and then they start to speculate, I think we're going to need more stimulus. So Republicans, when they're looking to solidify the economy more, it's all about creating jobs. It's all about bringing manufacturing back to the U.S., which has been happening very heavily the past couple of years. In fact, it started about 6-7 years ago, gaining more traction. Under the Trump administration, it gained even more traction. And it's also something that's been earmarked by the Biden administration as something that they want to continue to bring jobs back to the U.S., bring manufacturing back to the U.S., to help solidify the economy and rely less on China. In fact, Chuck Schumer's working on a bill right now that has a lot of bipartisan support. Both Republicans and Democrats are supporting basically a bill, it's almost an infrastructure type of bill that would help put the U.S. in a better position in terms of bringing those jobs back, making the U.S. better in terms of manufacturing numbers, creating jobs, that kind of thing on U.S. soil. So as we look back to the stimulus checks, $2,000 per month stimulus checks were proposed by 50 lawmakers before this last stimulus check package was actually passed. Now, we know a couple of weeks ago, as many as 12 to 14 Democratic senators actually support a $2,000 per month stimulus check package. So what we're going to see over the coming weeks and possibly months here, all the negotiating, all the infighting, all the disagreements that are going to happen with Washington between Republicans, Democrats, and even within the parties, as to what kind of stimulus is needed, what kind of long-term support is needed to basically get the U.S. economy back to where it was several years ago. So what's the likelihood of this fourth stimulus package passing? Well, right now, Joe Biden is calling it the Build Back Better plan or the infrastructure plan, and it does have things that include vast bipartisan support. It includes some of the things that Republicans have wanted for a while, which is a better roads and transportation system infrastructure, which is a better technological infrastructure, working on building out a 5G network throughout the country, and some things like this that Republicans have typically been on board with. Now, when we look on the Democratic side, there's obviously a lot of people that are for that, but they're also wanting to give more stimulus, more tax credits, and more spending that ultimately creates more debt. And that where the argument comes in and where the fighting comes in is how much of this debt is being held by other countries, how much of this debt is being held by the U.S. taxpayers, and is taking on debt in the short term better for long term, or are we better struggling through this where it might be a little tougher fight now, but we'll be a little bit better off in the long term. In fact, even our own Treasury Secretary, many economists don't exactly agree with, and Jerome Powell, who's the chairman of the Federal Reserve, have both people agreeing with him and not agreeing with him. So going back to the chances of a fourth stimulus check package, well, here's what they're up against. In order to pass something, the Democrats are going to need at least 10 Republican senators to join on and vote for a bill. And if it's something like $3 to $4 trillion, probably not going to happen. But if it includes a lot of the infrastructure stuff, a lot of the homegrown stuff, things that create jobs and have a better long-term outlook, you're going to have a much easier time getting Republican support. So if they can pare down some of the more progressive parts of the bill, add in more of the Republican parts of the bill, it will still probably be a huge spending bill. But will it include stimulus checks? Well, that's what we're going to have to find out. But as of right now, there's a lot of people pushing for that $2,000 per month stimulus. So if they don't have Republican support, a lot of people are asking, can't they just go the reconciliation route, which is what they did this time? They used the Reconciliation Act, which means they only need 51 votes or 50 votes in the Senate to pass it, which right now there are 50 Democratic senators, Kamala Harris being the tie-breaking vote, which of course she's a Democrat. Now, I've seen conflicting reports on exactly how many times that the Democrats can use this reconciliation in a 1 year's time period, or this year in particular. So they've already used it once. And I've seen conflicting reports, and honestly, I don't really know who to believe, so I'm going to keep doing research on it until I find the answer. I've seen one report that says they can use this reconciliation 2 more times this year to pass a bill, meaning they only need 50 votes in the Senate. However, I've seen yet another report that says they've already used this one for the year 2021, and they can't use another one until 2022. However, they can use the one for 2022 starting October 1st. So Either right now we're looking at October 1st being the next potential date that a fourth stimulus check package could pass using the Reconciliation Act, or there's another one that I don't know about, or there's another one that just hasn't been explained as to how it can possibly be used that I haven't seen yet, but I've seen other reports and other people reporting on it, that the fact that they can use another reconciliation package right now. But yet another wrench has been thrown into that, which is that Senator Joe Manchin said he does not want to use another Reconciliation Act for the rest of the year. Not only that, Kristen Sinema, another Democratic senator, said she doesn't want to use a Reconciliation Act again this year. So right off the bat, you're going to have two Democratic senators most likely voting against anything that's reconciliation based that excludes Republicans. So right now, my guess is that if they're going to get something passed, it's going to have to be bipartisan. They're going to need to get some Republicans on board with it. So that's what we're going to be talking about in the coming weeks and months. I actually heard that as soon as this week or possibly next week, the Biden administration is going to lay out at least their high-level plans for this infrastructure package. We're going to see everything that they want to include, and it's going to include a ton of stuff that progressives want, and there's going to be a ton of pushback from Republicans, and then we're going to kind of see things whittled down and fit together as we get further and further away from this stimulus package that we just passed, and we get closer to the fourth. Let me know your thoughts in the comments section below. Let me know what you guys think about the fourth stimulus package plan or the talks of the plan. Let me know if you guys think it's a good idea, if you guys think it's too soon, if you think the spending is too much, what you hope could be included, who you think's going to be against it. I'd love to know your guys' thoughts. If you check out the community tab on my channel, I put out a poll asking this. It's basically same exact question. So if you want to know what other people who watch this channel are answering, you can go there to check it out and participate. So like I said, if you have questions about the child tax credit that is coming down the pike, I made a video of it. I will link it right up here. You can go check it out. And there's going to be a lot more videos coming down the pike about this stimulus and stimulus updates. I've seen a couple of comments that said, I didn't know you were going to make any more videos since this stimulus check already passed. Nope, that is not the plan. I am here to cover stimulus, the ones that were passed and the ones that may be passed in the future. Definitely going to be covering them, as well as other content. Specifically, if you'd like to know how you can take this $1,400 stimulus check and grow it into even more money, I'll link a video right here that you can check out. Thanks for watching. I appreciate your time today, and watch until the end of this video. Don't forget to give it a big thumbs up. I'd greatly appreciate it. It really helps out with the YouTube algorithm, especially brand new channels like this one. So until next time, I'll see you guys in the next video.